Good afternoon. Welcome. This is it's office hours. It's Wednesday. It's 4:30 p.m. Central Time. Hello, Andrew. How are things?
Wonderful. Back to school is in full swing as of today. We've got the kids went back today. We've got college classes are starting to get ready here pretty soon in my town, and everyone's busy, but with good things going on. I love this time of year. A bunch of new things happening. So
Yeah, we
great.
have sixth grader. His first day today as well. So very excited, of course.
That's a big one right there.
Yep. Heck yeah. And first time going on bus to the school.
Yeah.
So yeah,
How do you like it?
I think it's all right. I haven't talked to him since he came home, but
Yeah. Good. Well,
but
a new experience, nevertheless.
nonetheless. All right.
Awesome.
But that's not why we're here.
It is not. We do have some things to share and to discuss. I thought that we could have a little bit of a discussion on one of these things today.
All right, then, let's do it.
All right.
What news do you bring?
So the first thing that I have literally just came across this like 2 minutes before we started. Microsoft is removing PowerShell 2.0 from Windows 11 and Windows Server this month. Hopefully, this affects exactly 0 of you. But for those that still rely on PowerShell 2.0, this is important news. It is interesting. I feel like over the last year or so, maybe 2, we have had several deprecation and removal announcements of technologies that have existed in Windows for quite some time. So, anyways, I wanted to call this one out.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Also, a couple of things I came across from Jose Shinardi. Fantastic PowerShell modules here that he has created. This one we did talk about a couple of months ago when it was released, the IntuneMermaid PowerShell module. And this PowerShell module is helpful in generating diagrams in the Mermaid format. So if I click on this link, this will kind of show you what that format looks like. So he had a couple of updates to this PowerShell module, wanted to call that out. And separately, I don't recall coming across this before, but this shot up to high on my list to play around with. He also has a PowerShell module for reporting browser extensions across Edge, Chrome, and Firefox. Have you seen this module before, Johan?
No, sir, I have not.
I thought that this would be super useful. I mean, another data point for reporting on something that, in my experience, is sort of elusive in an organization. You don't necessarily know if you are allowing extensions. You don't necessarily know what everyone has installed. So this looks super useful. I haven't played around with it yet, but knowing his work, this is a pretty great module. Some news from Microsoft for those of you that manage macOS platform SSO, which has been a fantastic change for macOS management, allows for single sign-on in applications and browsers in macOS. Obviously, this is sort of built into Windows, so when Microsoft released it as a preview last year, everyone was very, very excited. It went GA earlier this week, though. So I know for a lot of organizations, public preview isn't quite enough to implement it into production. So for those of you that have been waiting for GA, here it is. Very, very great news. Another message I don't like to deliver, but it seems like we have to every now and then. Nathan McNulty pointed out that if you are using a specific part of the latest Microsoft.Graph PowerShell module, it turns out there is a bug in the latest 2.28 version. So the only fix is to actually roll back to the previous version. Wanted to call that out because we were excited we hadn't seen any bugs for a little while, but looks like one crept into this latest one. So FYI on that. And then last but not least, I thought this one was worthy of a discussion. So Aria over at Microsoft kind of put a poll out on Twitter here asking for security updates in the out-of-box experience. Would you prefer for it to be enabled or disabled by default? So the two choices were, I want to have to opt in my organization to update during out-of-box experience, or opt out. So that would mean opt out would mean by default you are updating during OOBE. So here are the results of that poll. 57.9% wanted to opt in, but 42% wanted it by default. The reason that I thought this was a good topic to bring up today was because there was quite a bit of conversation in the replies, and I thought a couple of the replies that I wanted to point out here, one in particular really resonated with me. Bryan Dam mentioned, I voted opt-in even though I agree with Adam Julick's response, which happened to say the orgs that would benefit the most from this are the ones that would have no idea how to opt in. Enabled by default gets my vote. So I agree with that. So Bryan also said, mostly on principle, large orgs do not like having changes thrust upon them. In theory, everyone would know the change was coming and do that thing, but that's never really how it works, is it? And I'm just repeating what they said because I agreed entirely with that rationale. I would rather opt in. Getting things done by surprise is never great. And though it might not be by surprise because Microsoft gives a lot of lead time in these announcements and things like that, I think we saw the last time it was enabled by default, everyone went, whoa, what is this? So I wanted to call this out, and Johan, I wanted to ask your opinion on this subject as well.
I agree practically with both of those comments there, but I remember when this was shipped the first time, it was a sort of a test I think it was last October, where it was released with no control plane at all. So that was of course bad. But again, this is typically new devices we are talking about, either that you deploy yourself, or typically this is together with Autopilot or similar enrollment processes. And so what if it reboots one more time and take a little bit of extra time, and I have a device that is actually secure by default when it comes up, rather than having to make a decision on making that happen. And I can also see that when you order devices from vendors where you may not have that level of control yourself, so you can easily control that. But I don't like changes either. Unannounced one especially, but this one was announced, so I think I'm going to go with the organizations that needs it and don't necessarily have that team around them. I do see a benefit of being opted in by default, to get that patch installed to be secured by default.
Makes sense.
I take on it.
I think we can all agree it's a good change regardless.
Yeah.
Whether it's opt-in or opt-out, even having the ability to do it is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. Totally.
Yeah. Awesome. That was what I had on my list for today.
Yeah, on speaking of update note, I did see a conversation. See if I can bring it up. I just stumbled across it just a little while ago here. It was, again, Bryan Dam. He is pretty much everywhere. But he was following up on a couple of issues on Patch Tuesday. See if I can find them. It apparently been Patch Tuesday. I kind of missed that whole thing. Apparently that was yesterday. But let me send that link to myself, and I will bring it up to the screen because I had it right there on my phone. Let's see if I can multitask somewhat. It's a little bit too much to ask for, but it is Wednesday, so half week is over. But now,
Yay.
yay. Here we go. All right. Let me see if I can bring it over to a screen near you. And then actually share that screen. That would be the second challenge.
One that you're happily accepting.
I've been doing training all day. I have millions of windows opened, as in probably 10, but still. All right. How about this one?
That looks like your screen.
Yeah, looking at the screen. So apparently there are some issues. There were multiple threads going on, Reddit and others, that the Aug CU apparently is not entirely happy in all scenarios. And I did see a reply from Gabe Frost, Byte Notice's alias there. That is something they're looking into, and he works for Microsoft, so he's part of those discussions. So we'll see. I don't have any more updates than that, but I just wanted to share this one for that. Otherwise, I spent most of my, not all night, but I was up to 2 this morning arguing with BlackLotus Mitigations. Eventually got into the winning side of things, but I have to give a shout out to both Gary and Mike Terrell that helped me on the right track with those. It's nice people to get to work together with. They know a thing or two about UEFI or BIOS and boot managers and whatnot. But long story short, I had a couple of VMs that I was applying the mitigation to. And I went all the 4 steps. So including revoking the use of older boot managers and whatnot. And then I wanted to boot them on an ISO, just a regular boot image. And I patched that boot image with the latest update. I threw in the new bootX switch that is in the 80K. And then I tried to boot that VM, and it looked like the following. That will be this one here that has the mitigation in it. So this is a boot media with created from the 80K with the switch that is supposed to work with stuff. Let's see how well it works. Booting from it. I don't know about you, sir, but to me, this is not happiness. This is quite the opposite of happiness.
Red text is bad.
Red text is bad and the machine turns off.
Yeah.
It turned out that the batch script that is included in the 80K doesn't at all copy the right files to the right place. You have to do that with your own custom script or manually or whatever you do. So when I did that, using this boot media instead, 426, timely compiled here before office hours with 4 minutes to spare. Now I can boot just fine.
It's a just-in-time fix right there.
Just-in-time fix right there. So if I mount that media, just to show you guys, this one. The files in question is the boot manager. So I snatched that from an already patched system. And then there is one in the, let's see, EFI Microsoft boot. That's another boot image file. This one here. That was copied. Oh, that was actually the older version. It was the boot manager in the root then. The other one came from the 80K because I recognized the timestamp. So I added both in, but one was replaced, but this was the one that caused it not to fail. And you can see this one has the August timestamp on it. So that was fun. All right.
Glad you got it resolved.
Yeah, but think of this. Organizations, will they really now have to patch their media, boot media, every month also? I don't like this. This is kind of a mess. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, I got the problem solved.
Yep.
I was happy. All right.
Good deal.
Yeah. Yep. Now, we did have a question coming in last week.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot if it was from the office hours itself or it came in from the community, but it was regarding CMPivot, the use case. And that's a tool I like a lot. So if I go ahead and arrange the screens just a little bit here to get the full estate.
There we go.
Yep, I practiced. So let's go over to this ConfigMgr environment. But basically what CMPivot does, it allows you to send queries in near real time to clients, either to an entire collection of clients. That works just fine. Here I have a collection with 174 clients, most of them online right now, but I can also pick an individual client and say, right click and run CMPivot, or I can go ahead and select a couple and run CMPivot, or I can say, what, I just want to run a query against all machines in this particular collection. And in this case, I have a couple of favorites that I have saved. The only thing I do not like about CMPivot is that you actually cannot resize this column here. So when you name your favorites, name them wisely. Otherwise, you'll have to be scrolling back and forth. But this is absolutely brilliant. You can do things like snatching something from the registry on the device. You can look for application crashes. You can look for software updates. You can even look for file content or specific event IDs. So you have such a rich collection of properties that you can run. Funny enough, behind the scenes, this is PowerShell. This is a custom query language that runs the script in the backend. So what happens is that the config manager will copy down a script down to the script store on the client, and then instruct that script to run with certain criteria, and then parse that result and use it. So if I run this query here, it's going to run for a bit because it's 170 some clients. But most queries, they usually return within just a couple of minutes, even in larger environments. I have run this against batches of like 10,000 clients. And you can see I only got reply from 139 of them. And what did it take? Like 20 seconds, 30? This is absolutely great when you work with customers and you have a hard time being able to remote into those devices because they're in use and they don't allow it, or there are restrictions, whatnot. But Config Manager can read information. And you can even read file content. You can check host files, and you can do a lot of fun stuff. So I find it so useful to play around with. This one here, I was looking for a config file. I was looking into a text file to find out certain strings, if they were what they're supposed to be. Very, very powerful. And again, super fast.
I would say so. I just used it yesterday for checking the status of Defender and Defender for Endpoint across a bunch of devices.
Yeah. And when you start to search around for resources, I have a couple of queries up on our blog here, but when you start to give a good search of just your everyday Google search on CMPivot sample queries, you will find so many resources out there that provide good queries. Systems tend to do is have a really good collection, and Noob has a good collection. What exactly that do is you're not exactly alone in this world running CMPivot query. And here we go. Number one, System Center. This is a good collection of queries.
Yep.
Sample, 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 sample. Event log, BIOS, VMware devices, file shares. You can get extremely creative. And you can combine queries. You can join queries. This is fantastic. Absolutely love it.
There's another interesting one I found, if you don't mind going back to Google and searching for CMPivot Reference.
CMPivot Reference. I should be able to do that. I can barely spell the reference.
Yeah, you did it. The third one there, our friend Adam Gross,
Of course.
actually has, you mentioned that these are PowerShell. Well,
Yes.
in this post here, Adam took and basically exactly found all of the example CMPivot queries and the PowerShell equivalent. So if you scroll down, he actually has what ends up showing up on the device and running.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah, I never come across that.
I love that one.
Yeah, very useful.
Yeah. No. Good find, sir.
Well, thank you, Adam, for putting that together.
All right. So that was that. What else?
Well, should we hop to some Q&A?
Let's do it.
Q with hopefully some A. We got a couple of hellos, familiar faces in here. I see Amir and Matthew. Always want to make sure we call out. And David Segura joining us today. And Dean joining us as well. So, hello, everybody.
Hello. Working late, I see, there in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Dean's on very late. So first question here is from Matthew. How can I set up OSD so that the task sequence offered is based off of the network, the IP network address? I want the task sequence offered based off of the DP they're using for unknown devices as well. I have also noticed, for example, when I do a client push, it will try to use an MP and DP that is not the local one, as the ports are not open. To access a remote MP and DP, it ends up using the correct one. How can I make the client use the preferred MP and DP? So maybe first, I thought that those were the same question, but I think they maybe ended up being two. First question.
Yeah, they were quite different.
Yeah.
So ConfigMgr doesn't offer any default filtering on which sequence that shows up. If you have deployed them to all unknown computers, they're going to show up. However, there is always a way. So if I go to one of my ConfigMgr environments here, can head over to this little friend. When you have sequences and when you create a deployment for them, come on, I had it open so it wouldn't show me the GUI. But one of you pick a collection like all unknown computers, but you can say that it should be hidden. So you make it available for media, but it's hidden. And that means you can ask for it through scripting on the client. So you can write a little front end that asks either the admin service or a web service for a list of sequences. And you can have it show different sequences, request different sequences, depending on the network you're on. So you just need to have some sort of lookup table that says, I'm on this network, I'm supposed to use this sequence. So that's something you can do by a healthy dose of PowerShell on the client and by using hidden sequences on the server side. So that works quite well. You can even have, I've seen customers, they were prompting for a logon in WinPE. So they authenticate using either ATSI or some other component in WinPE that they added in. And depending on who you log in as, you see different sequences. So help desk, they log in, they can deploy a Windows 11 device, whereas the admin logs in, he or she will be able to see all clients and servers and whatnot. Then maybe the server team, they log in and they see only server sequences. So Very, very powerful. This is what I like about the ConfigMgr platform. There is pretty much nothing that you that is blocking you from doing things. You all can often find a way. Whether it's a good idea to do what you're thinking of, that's a different story. But the platform often allows it with if you're creative enough. So yeah, so that was the first question. Regarding client push, you can do. I mean, it's still going to honor boundaries when it tries to locate resources. There is no setting to force it to go to a specific MP for the initial, but you can have properties configured on the client push account. It might be easier to just skip client push for that scenario and use a client help script instead. Either a computer startup script or something else that runs on a schedule, because that way you can basically do the same thing. I'm on this site, I'm supposed to use this management point or talk to when you install the client. So I don't, that's the only thing I can think of for client push. Usually that problem is often related to imaging instead, because Microsoft for the longest time would force you to use the management point that the DP was using, which sometimes was not the one you wanted to use. So on the Pixie server now, they offer you the option and say, all right, this is the one you should be using for lookup. But there is no such thing that I remember for client push anywhere. So probably, again, some custom action on the client. Startup script is usually better than client push. Client push is more for like ad hoc stuff. It requires perfect DNS, and DNS is not very often perfect.
Yeah, I would say so.
So I would do that instead. I hope that answered the question.
All right. Thank you, sir. So Clive's got a question here. I finally got Autopatch working. Took me a while to realize that Autopatch requires telemetry enabled because I was getting the alert of diagnostic data not received. Finding that the upload of telemetry data is slow. Can this be sped up?
Not that I know of. The answer is yes, you need to have it. There are a couple of settings that needs to be applied for Autopatch and some other Intune features to function. But some telemetry can be done by restarting like client services like the Application Experience Indicators and others. But the normal, that's the only thing I can think of. Not sure how much that speeds up processing in the backend though.
Yeah. I mean, that's always been not a struggle, but it's always been a thing, right? Even when we had update compliance and Windows Update for Business reports, for example, telemetry always takes a little while to get going.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. All right. I see our friend Johan is joining us over on Twitter. It's lucky I over in Redmond this week. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, Tech Mentor is going on, right? Is this week?
I don't know what week it is, Johan. I don't even know what month we're in right now.
That would be August, sir.
Okay. I guess I should have, me talking about back to school should have been a dead giveaway for that.
I like to say Tech Mentor.
Yeah. Yep. August 11th through the 15th. You are correct. Oh, it's funny. I happened to go to the website, and who did I see speaking on the front page? Johan himself.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So Amir had a follow-up here. Wonder if this is the same issue that Johan mentioned. This was about 10 minutes ago. After updating our MDT task sequence with the latest Windows 11 2025-07 ISO, our devices began falling asleep at 4% during the deploy OS step. When we rolled back to June ISO, everything worked again. Has anyone else run into this, or could it just be a broken import? Starting to worry Microsoft might be done with MDT.
Where did you get falling asleep from? Began failing at 4%.
I don't know where I got that from. My brain made it up. I think I see failing and step in my. I don't know.
Indication that we maybe need a nap after.
Yes.
Both of us, probably.
Failing at 4% during the deploying OS step. That is way different from the device falling asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord. So, has anyone else run into that? Or could it just be a broken import?
It's so rare that importing a WIM file breaks. The WIM file itself could be corrupt, absolutely. But just try to download a new one first and try to add that one in just to rule it out. Or simply validate the health of it. Just skip the deployment solution for a bit and go back to, basics. And going to basics is diving in time. Let me get rid of that one here. Because before deployment was cool, we had Jurassic deployment. This was 30 years ago-ish. But the thing is, you can very easily, with a couple of command lines, boot up a machine, just apply a WIM file, make a boot record, reboot, and see if it worked. It allows you within like 5 minutes to verify, is there something that is broken with the image, or is it something up in my deployment solution? Once you verify that, okay, it was not the image, then you can go ahead and start to troubleshoot the deployment solution. So sometimes these older methods for deployment, it's actually quite useful to quickly figure out where the problem is. So I would do something like that.
Yeah, great tip. All right. Michael O'Leary has a great comment here. Always say to my coworkers regarding SCCM, the problem is not whether or not we can do it. It's figuring out which of our options is the best.
Yeah, whether we should. Yeah, that's a good one. Solid comment.
Yep. Matthew is asking, I want to set up a Windows 11 OS upgrade task sequence to kick off at, let's say, 10 p.m. Been setting it up with required, and the time I have found they seem to start running right away, which can be very bad.
Well, you can combine two things there. First of all, when you do deploy a sequence, and I go back to the one I showed earlier here. Do I have an upgrade one? Yeah, I have an upgrade one. This will be fine. So pick a collection. Great. Yeah. When you pick it as required, you have an option to specify when. So when I put the design and schedule, I can do a given time as soon as possible, or I can basically pick an hour and when that is supposed to happen. And I can either do it on the client time, or I can say I wanted to have this on UTC time. That's one way to deal with it. Those are typically honored, but there is another option as well. And on your collections, we typically do these for software update collections. but you can create maintenance windows. So here I have a server collection, got properties on that one. You can see I have a maintenance window here between 7 and 11 p.m. On Sundays. And right now it's set for all deployments. You have a couple of options here, but you can say that you can specify specifically this is a maintenance window for sequences. And the client will not run those sequences unless you are in that within that time frame. So this is like the rather safe than sorry principle.
Mm-hmm.
Put those devices in a collection where you have a maintenance window, and it will only run. So obviously that the start time would be, in this case, 10 p.m. for that maintenance window. And make sure you give it enough time. I've seen so many customers trying to get creative, having a short maintenance window. I just realized that ConfigMgr don't like it. ConfigMgr need to have time to do the work. So at least 4 hours. That's like a bare minimum. So that.
All right. See, Matt's joining us today. Hello, Matt. And Amir says he's going to try going the Jurassic route, so thank you for that tip. All right. Matt's saying, not sure if you've logged into Defender recently. I see the menu on the left looks different, but I'm not sure which one has changed for the E5 license. So
haven't noticed anything, but
yeah, same. I've been in there, but I haven't noticed anything. But I will say I've seen on the Entra Admin Center side of things recently, I've seen the left side navigation changing back and forth a lot for me over the last couple of weeks. So I wouldn't put it past them changing the navigation in this portal either. Mine looks about the same as yours, Johan.
yeah. No. I don't spend too much time in this one, but I didn't notice something different.
Yeah. Same.
All right.
Matt's also asking if we're coming to WP Ninja's US this year. I am not, but
I am very excited for it. It'll be the first US version of it.
yeah,
So looking forward to that one. December, 2 days.
yep, very exciting. Dallas?
Dallas, yes.
Yeah.
And I can bring up the link here. Workplace Ninja's US. 2 days, reasonable pricing. Should be fun. House will be there as well. I know that Mr. Mike Carroll will be there. No, he will be maybe both. House definitely. I saw that.
You know, I was actually going to say too. It sounded like you were about to say Nashville. I believe there are still some tickets left for Nashville.
One can see.
Yes.
Music edition. Well, it doesn't show sold out, so I'll take that as yeah, 2 great conferences to join.
Yeah, both of them. WP Ninja's US, I'm very excited to hear how that goes. MMS Music City, I know how that one's going to go because I've been at the prior 2 fall versions of MMS. And if you have the opportunity, I would recommend both of them, frankly. But I can personally speak to the fall version of MMS. Also fantastic. It's 1 day shorter than the spring version, the larger conference, but it's about half of the attendees. And so I feel like we as speakers get a little more opportunity to network with a few more people. It's not quite as
Busy?
yes, perfect. Thank you. I was looking for the word there. It's overall fantastic. I mean, Johan and I sing their praises all the time, and I have to say the same about the fall conference.
Yeah, and I attend a couple of the workplace ninjas in Europe, and they have been fantastic. So I have really high hopes for this one.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
I-
I'll let you guys know.
perfect. I've heard absolutely nothing but wonderful things about the events that they've put on in the last several years.
All right.
Cool. Yeah.
All right. Anything else that we might have missed? I don't think so. I've been up and down the list of questions. I hope we didn't miss one.
I hope so too, but I also don't see any that we've missed.
But if you do have any questions, we still have 18 minutes to go.
Mm-hmm.
There was one question coming in. Have you heard about the E5 pricing is going to change? I have heard nothing about E5 pricing. So, anything from you, Andrew?
No, not specifically, unless it was. Let's see, is it this one? 5% price increase.
Do you have something up on your screen, sir?
Not yet. This might be it. Yeah, I was trying to find something Microsoft official. So yes, if you want to bring my screen up, I think this is like a partner center announcement, and this calls out the 5%
Okay.
price increase for some plans. So I had heard that some licenses were going up for some customers, but as we always say, when it comes to licensing and pricing, definitely reach out to your licensing expert or your reseller.
They would know.
Yeah, and I don't think this was an across the board thing. I think it did affect a lot of customers, but yeah.
All right. So a comment coming in from LinkedIn. The comment so far is I have a question, but there is no question.
Fire
So if
away.
you have a question, yeah, exactly, fire away. We'll be happy to answer. All right, let's see. There we come to the follow-up one. Article to troubleshoot BranchCache. I have set it up, tested it, but client won't pull from the BranchCache cache. Do I have to disable peering between clients? Nope, you do not, and that's the kind of the opposite what you want to do. So I did write a troubleshooting article for TwoPint a little while ago. It's a generic troubleshooting tool for BranchCache, but it was up on their KB for a while. See if I can find it. Give me just a moment. Not on that one. problem is going to the 2-point website and search for branch caches that you get like 4 billion articles. I mean, they're good, but
It's a lot to sift through.
yeah. Not that one. No, my searching skills are failing me. I have one, but I cannot find it at the moment.
Just branch cache troubleshooting.
Pretty much. It was like a 13-step guide I wrote for troubleshooting. Usually I pride myself of my Googling skills, but right now it's kind of not cooperating.
Setup, that's not it.
Let's see what I have in. You may have to defer that to I have a chance to find it.
I keep coming across your several step setting up branch cache.
Yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah.
No, I do not find it.
Well, I wrote down a note here just in case we are able to dig it up between the two of us. And if so, hopefully we can share it next week.
Yep.
All right. Clive is asking, is there a way to pin icons to the taskbar via SCCM in 24H2? Can't get it to work. The most up-to-date blog post on this that I have is Martin Bankston's. This is around 23H2, but in theory should work in 24H2. I've not done this myself simply because I've tried to shy away from customizing taskbar or start menu or anything as much as possible. But Clive, if you haven't come across this article yet, I would give Martin's solution a shot first. And this is an updated one. He did have an older version from pre 23H2. So maybe give this a try if you haven't already.
I found a post I found the article.
All right, perfect.
There we are.
How did that not show up for either of us? Troubleshooting BranchCache is in the title.
Let's agree to. But anyhow, yeah, 13 steps checklists. The most common things is simply firewall things blocking branch cache not correctly set up. Uh, if you use the two-point agent, it will take care of that for you. If you don't, there are some creative ways of making it better. There is a script that you can download from their GitHub repository. It's cleverly hidden behind a configuration item. So it's intended for ConfigMgr, but you can also do a version of this for Intune. But the thing is, you're interested in the remediation script, because this one take care of configure branch cache the way it should be on the client, like changing ports and changing other settings, making sure it's happy. So I would start there. Go back to the troubleshooting guide. Do these checks. You go through it fairly quickly, and then yeah, basically follow this guide.
All right. Well, I'm glad you found it.
Yeah, me too. It was so annoying not finding it. Like I know it's there.
It's weird. Yeah, whatever. You found it.
Yeah, I found it. All right.
All right. I just see a follow up from Clive here. This taskbar solution from Martin isn't working for him. So sorry, I haven't come across any more recent ones than that.
No, and in all fairness, I haven't tried that on a recent build either, so maybe should do that.
Another note here.
What was the month again that it stopped working?
I think you just said in 24 H2. Yeah.
Okay.
Taskbar. H2. Okay. All right.
Before leaving the topic, Clive, is this hybrid with ConfigMgr or is it Intune only?
His initial question was ConfigMgr.
Okay, all right. So most likely hybrid. Even I did stumble across a customer who used ConfigMgr with co-management, but they were not hybrid. So it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to have the best of both worlds, but no Active Directory for the machines. ConfigMgr still requires it. But the clients don't. They can be workgroup.
I could see that. I could see some value in that. You've got users that are off the network.
Mm-hmm.
ConfigMgr and Intune will happily work that way.
Yep.
Active Directory, not so much.
Yeah.
Well, I sure hope your Active Directory does not work off of your network. All right. Matthew's got another question here. I am running OSD now at the second distribution point. They're sending me screenshots, but I don't see anything in the task sequence content status for it. PC has joined domain already and is now installing apps. I'm just seeing asset detail information is currently unavailable for this deployment.
I mean, if you have a distribution point, like I have a couple here, and if you go to their content status, and there is no content, this is just troubleshooting why it's not being distributed to that distribution point, because the packages and applications should show up here if you have any distributed to this one. And there are two log files that is going to be your friend, or friends, I guess, in multiple log files. But on the site server itself, there is a dist manager log file. That one keeps track of a lot of things regarding to distributing content. And then there is another one, this one here, the package transfer manager log file, that will take care of showing you what's being sent out to the remote DPs. So we recommend taking a look at those two log files. You could also open up in the server tools area. There is a DB job manager. Don't have any jobs going at the moment, but this is where you will see all of the jobs that are going on to remote distribution points, and you also have the ability to manage those jobs, change priorities, and cancel and whatnot that you need to do. So I would start there if content is not getting out. So maybe that.
All right. And Clive did just follow up 24H2 latest ISO, hybrid, and co-managed.
All right. We'll do some testing on that one. I know that question will come up a couple of times, so might as well give it a go.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. There was some. There was a tip from Amir coming in. I think I will actually showcase that one so we get it on the recording. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
Did not mean to do that, but I meant to.
I figure with reg keys, that's usually easier too than us forcing everyone to listen to us say a reg key out loud.
Yeah, this one is a long one to speak of. I have not tried that one, but all right. Thank you so much for sharing. Appreciate that.
And there was just a follow-up here in the chat too. Clive asked to default user, and Amir said yes.
All right. So basically loading that hive and smacking the values in, I'm assuming. So, all right. And just like that, we are up on time.
Goes quickly.
It does. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you for the good comments and questions and helping each other. That's nice to see. And thank you, Andrew. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Johan. Thanks, everybody.